So here's some of the things we need to do now that we have our piece of audio. Okay. Number one, our title and description. Okay. It can sometimes be an afterthought, but it's very much a part of the actual promotional plan. Do we create a title for our episode that people actually want to click, that kind of grabs their attention and it feels a little bit different, or there's something about it that makes me go, that's interesting. And also the description, the couple of lines underneath that, in the same way as we have a couple of lines to describe our overall series when it comes to like the channel itself, each episode it's going to have its own couple of lines where we describe it. Okay. And I think it's not going to make everyone come in and press play, but it's going to catch enough people if you get that bit right. Okay. Jesus, I think the walls are going to come down here. Second thing, video. Okay. Capturing video where and when possible. I have found that extremely beneficial. And you don't have to be a video editor. I've taught myself basic video technique in order to be able to capture video and to lightly edit it. It doesn't have to be fancy or really well done, but it helps you create reach a new audience, because video does really, really well on social. Audio does not do particularly well, or just words do a certain way, but video, the platforms love it. And I keep mentioning social media because a lot of your promotion is going to be on social media, let's face it. But you may also have the luxury of a radio station that is going to promote it on air too, okay, which is nice, and use their own social media channels. Number 3, audiograms. I'm going to talk about these in depth in a moment, because audiograms they're the kind of little you'll see the picture come up and the little waveform, and there's a sound playing. It might be subtitles. They can be a really quick win in terms of just taking, we're probably used to taking a little soundbite for our shows and sending it, dressing it up a little bit for an on-air promo. Jesus. Is that really loud? Can you hear me when I'm talking? Can you hear me when I'm actually talking? Yeah. Christ almighty. Sorry about this. I was not warned. The council did not warn me. We might take a break in a moment just to let that pass.
I have the same going on here, but they're quiet at the moment.
Okay. Unfortunately, you can mute yourself far more than I can. I'm
muting regularly, yeah.
You may wish I mute myself more, but I'm sorry, I'm taking this course. So we've got the audiograms, which I think the audiogram is the bit that I would like you to create for the next part of the course, or for the final bit of the course, where we're going to bake your promo into it. Number 4, the power of the press release. Okay. And always see it, the way I always look at it, and we know ourselves as producers, news people, whatever it might be, journalists, producers, people who have to fill papers, have to fill shows, are really, really hungry for content all the time. Okay. And if you can literally give them not even great, but sometimes semi-decent content on a plate, then you have the opportunity, you're giving yourself the opportunity to get into local papers, national papers, magazines, or whatever. Okay. It's about thinking about that. So every time you have a podcast, is there a publication that might find that kind of interesting, whether it's news lines or whether it's a travel magazine, Ed, where, your particular style of thing, 10 ways to live like a local, you could see that in a little magazine very easily, or whatever, and, Wicklow Today, or whatever the main Wicklow papers are, might like to serve up something that you've created. So I often try and create press releases out of an episode to send out to the specific publication that I think it might land in. And what I found actually is that I think that it also helps with the Apple charts. Okay. Every time we with Mario's podcast, for example, we land an article in a newspaper, it doesn't necessarily lead to like a doubling of listens or anything like that. But I do know that Apple also scrapes social for mentions of a podcast. It's kind of like a bit of a soup for trendiness. It's listens, it's subscriptions, but it's also mentions on social. And all these algorithms are scraping just buzz, looking for buzz about your podcast wherever they can get it. So every time we've landed in the paper, we've done much better in the charts than with other episodes. So I think it's an interesting way to come at it as well.
Yeah, actually, if you look at that link that I was telling you about, that podcast that won the award, she has a list of all the publications across her page, and she's really like, I mean, you talk about flogging your wares, but like serious stuff, and all basically once a few of them get a hold of it, loads of people want it, then it kind of goes viral in a way, doesn't it?
There you go. That's it. And it's, this stuff takes time and work, but this is how we build an audience, is by coming at it. Where can I create a buzz? Here's some stuff. The first one is for your channel itself. Number 2 and 3, really great for social. Number 4, let's get into some magazines, papers, mentions on other shows or whatever. And it all really helps. Number 5. Yeah.
Sorry. No, I was just going to give just a small tip on that as well, just from my point of view. I think it's is it James Cunningham sends us Mario's press releases, but for any of the lads as well, if you're sending stuff out, one of the biggest challenges for me, especially with local radio, when you're producing, you're there, you're on the phones, you have your headset on, you're so busy. So you've your guest in, let's say Mario's on the air with us and I have the press release. I'm going back then into my email, grabbing the press release, trying to put something together for Twitter and Facebook, and then going on to his page and getting, an audio or a grab or whatever, a picture of Mario. So like from a producer point of view, if you want to utilize my 200,000 Red FM viewers in your press release, add in, like, have a little blurb, say, for Facebook.
Oh, great.
With the link, a blurb for Twitter, right amount of characters, whatever, that I can just cut and paste and bang up, because otherwise sometimes if I'm really, really busy, I actually won't put up any press, or I won't put up any social, or I'll just do a really quick Mario's on air there now or whatever, just a tip. Because it's so,
and a brilliant tip, because what you're doing, it's the general principle of spoon feeding producers, journalists, not saying, so I'll give you an example. Do I have an example here? Okay, I'll just put can you see this? Okay, so when we had Charlie Bird on, okay, can everyone see at the right-hand side my email?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we had Charlie Bird on, he mentioned this story about Daniel O'Donnell or whatever. Really nice little story. Didn't take long to tell. I could have just taken the link and written, "Hi there, Charlie Bird was just on Mario Rosenstock's podcast, and he talked about a lovely story about meeting Daniel backstage. Here's the link to the podcast. It's at minute 23:50. Okay. That might land on someone's desk. They might do it, but you know what? They might not. They might be, like you just mentioned, Emer, damn bloody busy. And I know how busy people are. I was that person, but I am that person, but not on the news desk anymore. So what I said was, okay, if I take the time to actually transcribe the moments and write it like an article that could actually be copy and pasted, then I'm probably going to increase my chances. So that's the email I sent out. Please find below an attached quotes from Charlie Bird's interview with Mario Rosenstock. It includes an emotional story about a special moment they shared backstage of the Late Late Show. Really quick, but just sort of trying to tease them in, because I know, like, from being a busy producer, I don't always get past the first line if it's boring. So let's just see if we can create a funnel effect here. Let's get them down to the next bit. I've given them the link to the show on Apple, on Spotify. We created a little video and a little audio thing as well, if they want to download it on WeTransfer. And then on the bottom there is some of the actual thing. Charlie Bird has for the first time spoken about a special moment he shared with Daniel O'Donnell backstage at Late Late. Speaking to Mario Rosenstock, blah, blah, blah. Daniel became emotional as he revealed. And then some quotes, okay?
Sorry, Patrick, I can't see that at all. Where is that?
Can you see it down the bottom, the bottom right?
I can't either, actually.
No, Patrick, I can't see it either, no.
Why is that not working? Bear with me now. Sorry, I haven't even shared it. Jesus Christ, guys.
It's like the Emperor has new clothes.
My God. So here we go.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I actually shared it this time. God. Hey, maybe it is time for a break. So on the right-hand side, that's what I shared. Basically, the title of the email is a headline, Charlie Bird. It's not like press release from the Mario Rosenstock podcast. That might not get opened. But Charlie Bird reveals the special moment shared with Daniel O'Donnell. Two big names, particularly at the time when Charlie was out quite a bit. It suggests a bit of an intrigue, bit of a story here. Then first thing you see is just please find below and attach quotes from the interview. Try and lure people in. It was an emotional story, a special moment. I'm kind of curious now. These will all be on the slides, by the way. Then down the bottom, then I've just basically written the article. Okay. I've written the article because I know they're so busy. And if I write the article with a bit of copy and paste and light retouch, it's got far more of a chance of landing in a paper than if I just ask the journalist to go do the work themselves and go and listen to, into minute 35 and blah, blah, blah. So it's all about completely putting stuff on a plate for people. And we landed on, it's a good story anyway, do you know what I mean? But we landed on loads of, so this is the next day, Irish Mirror, Irish Examiner, Independent, RSVP. And it's not because it was Mario or such, yes, that there's he was topical at the time, but I truly believe if I did not put it on a plate, the examiner might have been too busy at that particular moment to actually go listen and transcribe. So we don't land there. Do you know what I mean? Similarly with the Indo or whatever it might be. So by kind of putting it on a plate for people, you're really helping yourself extend the reach. Does that make sense? So that's one of the ways. Now, what I want to do now...
Patrick, you fucked me there. What did he place in his hand?
That's the thing. He never said, he never actually told us what he placed in his hand. And listen, let me play you the piece of video if I have it.
I reckon it was rosary beads or something like that.
So I think you're dead right. That's what my theory is as well. So let me just share you. And I sent this out as well, little video. Can you all see that video there? Yeah. Okay. So, and now what you'll see is Charlie's, it looks like the audio is a little bit out of sync with the sync, but it's actually the way it speaks. There's a kind of a disconnect sometimes between the movement of Charlie's mouth and the sound that actually comes out. It's really part of the condition. It's such a hard time for someone who's just used his voice all his life. But this is what this little story was.
It's really important. On the night that I was on the first day, Daniel O'Donnell was on before me. Okay?
God.
When he walked out of the studio, I was walking in, and he said hello and said, I hope you everything. It was really nice to me. And after the show, when I was walking out of the studio, Daniel was still at the door of his dressing room, and he walked over to me. And he put something into my hand.
What?
I'm not telling you. But I mean this.
Yeah.
It was the loveliest gesture that any human being can do for another. I mean it.
Oh.
I mean it.
Well, fair play to Daniel.
I'm going to cry now. But this is a serious thing. That man in that moment is something really remarkable for me. And I know him. We'll have fun. But what he did in that moment has really lifted me. And I mean it. And he knows what I'm talking about, but no one else does. But I tell you, that gesture will be with me until I die.
That's lovely, Charlie. That's really nice.
And
so, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You know the way Charlie's voice there at times, could be almost inaudible, as in certain words he's trying to say. How did Mario handle that, during the live interview?
When you're actually in person with Charlie, it's easier to garner what he's saying. So Mario didn't seem to have a problem understanding him at all. It was because I was worried, and everyone was, Charlie was, everyone was like, am I going to come across? So it was very important that we did it at the right time of day, that we did it face to face. And that all of those things kind of increase the chances of it being a normal conversation as opposed to one where Mario is not following. But when we're watching it on video, and it's a compressed video because you don't want it to be too big because it's easier to share when it's small, and you can put it on WhatsApp and try and get it going around and stuff. So it's a little bit harder. See, that's why the subtitles are so important. Subtitles are important anyway, no matter what you're putting out. But I think particularly in this case, it was very important to get it across. But, it's a little moment, and not every interview is going to have a moment like that. But some interviews have moments of just of real expertise or an insight into an industry that can turn into a nice little press release that a magazine or a paper would love to publish in some particular section or whatever. And so one of the very and I'm doing everything in mad order here, but it's probably grand. Creating press releases, thinking it's a way of thinking. Would this land somewhere else with somebody, because it can be so powerful to help. You're basically using the audience of someone else's publication to promote your podcast, rather than your own social channels and all that kind of stuff. So it can be a really powerful way to help extend the reach and to build. And just I'll finish on this while I'm on video. Actually, like it's actually.
What did you, Patrick? What do you use? The tripod there with what do you use for that?
That just has a DSLR camera. And Shane, so we'd record most of Mario's podcasts in Shane Dempsey's studio on Dawson Street, Collaborative Studios. Highly recommended. Very good value as well. And he'll set it up and just pop it on. And what we do is actually we'll capture lots of different moments of it. We don't record the full thing. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we get unlucky in terms of if the camera isn't on at the time. But that's just but the thing is, you can get the little tripods for a mobile phone that will sit there happily. Do you know what I mean? And I'm a big fan of recording absolutely everything. You might not use 95% of it, but you could turn up some real gold. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And actually here, I'll just jump to the previous slide there. It's obviously easier when you're on Zoom. Okay, Zoom or Zencaster or whatever, because you're probably going to do video anyway. Okay, and it takes all the work out of from your perspective in terms of having equipment and lighting and all that kind of stuff. And it's rough and ready, and it's absolutely fine. But by recording everything on Zoom, you can kind of open yourself up to capture really nice moments. So we'll take a break after this, but I'll play you this little video as well. It's the whole always be recording thing, because you never expect certain things to happen, and they can happen on podcasts when they won't happen in a radio studio. So Mario was deep in an interview. I didn't play this to you last week, did I? Last time? No. So Mario was in an interview with Ronan O'Gara, and he was Mario was getting very deep, and you can hear him at the start of this. He started quoting like Samuel Beckett or something. You can see Ronan O'Gara kind of tuning out a little bit. And I was like, oh shit, this Beckett stuff isn't going down too well. But it actually turned out it was a different reason. I wonder, when I was playing Charlie, could you hear all the roadworks?
Yeah, we're getting used to it. It's a lovely hum.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, good. Okay. So I'll play you this. This happened in the middle of Ronan's interview.
Rog, which is ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better.
We're going to have a little parade. Hold on. Come around this way, quick. Straight in. Someone wants to say hi. A quick little tour, quick. Around and say hi. Have a look, Mario.
Oh, Mario.
How's it going?
Quick, Mac.
How are you, buddy? How are you?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Do a funny voice, please.
Who do you want me to do? Do you want me to do your dad?
Yes, please.
Hi, this is Ronan O'Gara. I'm absolutely over the moon to be talking to you today. You want to do a little parade? Do you? Come here to me. Jess, shut up. Jess, get me dinner ready, will you? Jess, where's me dinner? How's it going? Where's me dinner? This is your father. Go to bed. Chacun son goût. Vamos. Vamos.
Okay.
Je parle français now, boy. So anyway,
Zach, quick. Hold on, no, your favorite has Zach, to come in. Do the tour. Do the lap. Quick. Do the lap. Quick.
Can you do like an Irish drunk voice, please?
Say how it's going.
Of course we can do an Irish drunk voice. We can do any voice you want to do.
And it's just recording. We've recorded everything since we started, but we haven't had to use or been able to use 90% of it. But you get little moments like that. So, when it comes to Zoom or Zencaster or Riverside, it's there. It's easy to capture. And I just do a little bit of I taught myself in half a day. I have iMovie that comes free on my computer, and literally Google, spend 20 minutes on Google, and it'll tell you the basics of how to, and it works the same as audio, top and tail, a bit of video. And we got a little frame done up. See that little frame? Like someone will do that for 20 quid. And you just stick it on top of it on iMovie, and then you have a perfectly formed video. Like it's rough and ready, but that got like thousands, tens of thousands of hits. It goes viral very easily because it's a moment into the life and family life of someone we all see in a certain way on telly and all that kind of stuff. But it's the podcast scenario allowed us to capture that, and it was loose and free flowing and everything like that, you know.
Did you have to get Ron's permission to put that up with the children in it, Patrick?
No, because I didn't. It happened. So sometimes I'm kind of like, you know, it happened. He had no issue with it. He invited them into the screen and said, "Come on, let's do it." And like there was no, and he was careful with other stuff after, but not that. So I didn't. And it's funny actually, because sometimes like I did think about it. I was like, God, you know, should I ask him? And it's like maybe it'll just make him think twice about what was a lovely moment. There was nothing invasive about that. It was up on Instagram, and like every comment was like, what lovely, polite, wonderful children. Like, and he came across so well in it. I would come at it very differently had it been like a gotcha moment, or where I felt they didn't come across well or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And the main reason I didn't ask him was because Ronan can take up to 4 weeks to come back to you. And I just wasn't waiting for that time. So I just went with it, and there's been no repercussions. But it's a lovely moment, you know? And then just finally, before we take a break, on the other video bit, when you're in person with someone, okay? So you can record with your phone. You can, like, we all have video cameras now. So you could get a little external connection like we talked about last week if you want, you know, the little Shure clip-on things. Or in this scenario, what I did was I took the audio from the mics and synced it up with the video. Again, it's not complicated. It's not very complex video editing. It's worth it. It took half a day of my time. I could have been doing something else, but it got us an awful lot more attention when you can do it right in a scenario like this. If you have a Mac, you already have iMovie. Is there a free editing software on a PC? Does anyone know? Does it come with a I think it does, like video editor or something like that. So you don't have to pay for Premiere Pro or any of these things. Like it'll be there. And to add the subtitles, it's easy. And I'm going to show you next after the break a program called Headliner that does a lot of that for you. So the other thing you will have seen are these audiograms. You know these things?
Oh, yes, indeed, Charlie. I'm hoping to climb Patrick with you, but I have been offered the chance of piggyback on Paul O'Connell. Is that still legitimate?
Yes, anything is legitimate if the ooze on the hair.
So when you don't have video captured, you can create your own piece of branded video quite easily, which is what I'm going to get you to do with your promos to kind of get a better value out of it.